Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be doing a bit of a follow-up to yesterday's video where we talked about Idubbbz and his most recent video where he talked about concern trolling, and that really backfired for him. A lot of people were not happy with that video. But at the end of my coverage of that video, I shared this screenshot from Ethan Klein, the subject of Idubbbz's recent content cop, where he said, please tune in to the show tomorrow for what might be the most humiliating expose of all time on Idubbbz. And of course, eventually that would come out, and it was quite humiliating. Now, this was served by his ex-coach, someone who helped coach him and train him for Creator Clashes 1 and 2. And he would come on and share some very embarrassing details about Idubbbz and his wife Anisa, but also some details about Creator Clash 2 in particular, and how they were just completely blowing their funds in what was supposed to be an event trying to garner money for charity. And I want to share this short clip. I'll play it with you because it's very short, but they would share the reason why he was fired. This is the coach, okay?
Because then we went back to the hotel, and then they were eating at Denny's, and they said, we need to have a meeting. So I have to go to Denny's. And they pretty much then talked about how they were going to have to fire me because I reminded Ian of his father when his father would yell at him as a kid. Because then
you couldn't waterboard this information out of me. Okay, no one likes to be yelled at, especially by a parent or someone like that, but to say this to their coach and threaten to fire them over it, that's pretty insane, especially given the fact this is a boxing event and he's coaching and training him for a boxing event. I think that sort of intensity is expected, but of course you can see this is a couple here, and Idubbbz, with his history of calling every single critic an incel, he's put in a pretty tough spot right now. Let's not sugarcoat that. But before we get into the Creator Clash comments and some of the comments about Idubbbz and Anisa behind the scenes, I just want to share this clip because, above all, this one actually disgusted me. Like, I'm not joking. Hearing Kate, the woman in the screen here, share her story about being a child bride in America, by the way, and how Ian and Anisa completely ignored her story and her push to get this at a congressional level. Disgusting.
I'm a child bride survivor, and at the age of 12, I was put into a child marriage from the time I was 12 until 23. Within my child marriage, I had 2 kids when I was 15 and 17. And this happened in America, okay? And Ian and Anisa are well aware of my story because I've had them at my home. They've seen my kids and everything. And so last year, right, 2024, I learned that there was a House bill in Washington State trying to pass House Bill 1455 to end child marriage. And so when I learned of this bill, I thought to myself, even though it had been 15 years since I escaped my prison, like, this is a chance for me to come forward and tell my story. I sent, so Michael and I went to Olympia in Washington. We met with politicians. We lobbied to support the bill. I gave my public testimony to support the bill. And, I was on Seattle Times and television and everything. And I reached out to Ian and Anisa, and I asked them if they could help, share the information, because it was really important to me that this bill pass. And they just both left me on red. But guess what? Today, when they saw the highlights on Ian's story that we were going to be on here, Anisa was texting me and Michael, and they're like,
they ignored us when we were like trying to fight child marriage. But then when they found out,
are they pro child marriage? You take a hard stance. That's why it makes one. Begs the question.
It really says a lot that they ignored this sort of attempt to highlight this story that she's sharing in the related bill that I think any sane human being would support, especially someone like Idubbbz, who is apparently now so political, right? But then, the second they saw the preview of Ethan Klein's podcast that was going to feature the words of Coach and his wife, Kate, they sent a text. As soon as they thought they were going to be exposed for what they were going to share, they immediately fired up their phone and started texting. That is completely ridiculous and so frustrating. But let's get into another clip. Let's talk more about Anisa there's this gorgeous Gabe clip that a lot of people are talking about where Coach and his wife describe a certain sparring partner that really used to beat up Ian. And apparently Anisa was really into it.
Next question's very salacious, so it's totally up to you. You can pretend like you don't even know what I'm talking about if you want. But what I've heard is that she was hitting on one of his sparring partners and was obsessed with him and gave him a VIP pass to the event.
A lot of his sparring partners got the passes, but she definitely had a big crush on one of the guys that would come in and spar with them, because anytime they would spar, she would just be super into it and watch every moment. And then even if he would like beat Ian up, she'd be very into it.
I want to say that I want to say that before. So Anisa never gave shout outs to Michael training Ian at all, but she put out the first video of Ian like getting rocked in sparring when Ian was sparring with her crush. Yeah. It was our friend Gabe. She shared it. And we have a clip too. You guys can share. I would call him Gorgeous Gabe.
So these things are really embarrassing. And again, this is the testimony of these two individuals who clearly were pretty close to Idubbbz and Anisa. And if there's something they're saying that is wrong, then, well, Idubbbz and Anisa should share their side of the story. But further clips, talking about Creator Clash 2 in particular, really share some ridiculous details where apparently they were $500,000 in the red. And this is before they started throwing extravagant parties for everyone. But at one point, Coach here came to Idubbbz and basically said, "You're not taking the training seriously. My sort of brand is in jeopardy here." And eventually, Anisa would come in and say, her brand is at risk, and they're $500K in the red on this event.
But so for that second event, so I tell him he needs to do 2-a-days. This is like 2 weeks before the fight. I'm like, we need to do your 2-a-days. And I said, my brand is at stake. Well, he went and told Anisa that I told him my brand was at stake. So the next day she comes into the gym super mad, and she's like, our brand is at stake. We're $500,000 in the hole right now.
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that at that time. I think a lot of the fighters would have liked to have known that. I don't think none of them needed to be in the dark about that, you know?
Yes, completely. Well, and that's the thing. They said you guys didn't promote enough, but they weren't honest about the fact that they were spending the money from the ticket sales on the hotel, on flying people in, on all these other things. So it was just like,
so those decisions, the gala decisions, were made while in the red.
Yes.
Oh, but it gets so much worse. So if you're thinking, oh, these poor individuals, they were so in the red trying to make this event happen, an event for charity as it's, promoted as, it gets worse because Mike, Coach, would share some information that Ian and Anisa flew out a bunch of influencers and paid an entire hotel for 300 plus people, content creators, to be hosted at for Creator Clash 2. Again, they were already $500K in the red before they made this decision to house all of their favorite content creators, seemingly for vanity reasons.
That you guys shared with me. For example, one being that I think it was you, Kate, that mentioned that he and Anisa did in fact pay for Hassan and all of his compadres to travel to and stay at Creator Clash 2.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were talking about that long before, about how they had to fly in all these people. First of all, they rented the hotel for over 300 creators and flew a lot of them in. When the first year it was much more scaled back. We just had a couple floors of like some place, like a nice suite place, but it wasn't extravagant at all. And then the second year, they did that full hotel for 300 creators. They flew a lot of people in. One of the people they flew in was Froggy Tonic, and they flew him in from France.
So based on what we just heard about Creator Clash 2, it's probably not surprising to you that for Creator Clash 1, Anisa was adamant about having certain content creators at the event. One of those people was allegedly Pokimane, who's obviously a very popular content creator. Well, as you can guess, she did not participate or attend Creator Clash 1, and that's what's in this clip right here that I'm just summarizing for you guys. And this is, of course, an allegation, could be a mistake, could be a coincidence, but apparently, Anisa scheduled Creator Clash 1 on Pokimane's birthday just out of spite. Again, it could be a coincidence, but given the behavior of these individuals, would it be too shocking that this was intentional? I'm just saying. But anyways, there's one more thing I want to share. Again, I'm just going to summarize some of this. I'll play a little bit of the clips. But Sam Hyde played a very big role in Creator Clash. Some people have come out and said he played a bigger role in the success of the first 2 Creator Clashes than Idubbbz himself. And they have their own beef. Idubbbz tried to make a documentary on Sam Hyde and tried to do a sort of gotcha moment on Sam Hyde, and it blew up in his face. He was actually trolled the entire documentary by Sam Hyde, and Sam Hyde released his own footage before Idubbbz ever released anything for his documentary, because seemingly Idubbbz was just humiliated by what transpired. And there's been this very big hatred towards Sam Hyde from Idubbbz, and apparently, Ian and Anisa were so afraid of Sam Hyde, given his comments about Hassan Piker, you know, that famous clip where he's like, Hassan Piker, I'm coming to game Enja in real life, blah, blah, blah. Where they actually thought that Sam Hyde was going to attack them in real life. This is the clip.
Would have if he would have just been there. Like, so.
It was the craziest thing, because Anisa said to me, she's like, Kate, you don't understand. Ian and I both believe that Sam Hyde would really come and find me and would actually murder me. So that's the reason why we have to take all these precautions. And I was just like, are you sure?
I was like, I think the guy's a millionaire. I was like, I don't think he's going to risk his freedom to kill you.
Remember, Idubbbz is the guy who recently said Ethan Klein needs to get his ass whooped. Said that wasn't actually violent rhetoric or a call to violence. He's also the person who recently said 2 human skulls being mailed to Ethan Klein's house was just a joke. It was just funny. But Sam Hyde, in character of the Candyman, saying this stuff about Hassan Piker, got Ian and Anisa so scared they actually thought he was going to go out and game end them in real life. That's the situation we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen, and the hypocrisy and the fear-mongering. But here's another clip. Again, I'm just going to summarize this one because Mike and Kate, they shared a story where they asked Anisa and Ian to help out their gym. Not financially, just by signing as a personal guarantor. And in their response, they said, in no world would they help him out. After a very long time getting to know them, training with them, and pushing them to try to make their event succeed, this is the thanks they get in return. And well, at least someone's looking out for these two. Ethan would donate $5,000 to Mike and Kate, which is great. More than, I guess, Idubbbz ever really did in his time with the two. And as he says, it's not right that he stiffed you guys. And they got the support that I think, personally, they deserve. Now, there is a full summary here. This tweet is great, and I think it's definitely worth a read. If you want the full cliff notes of the entire stream, it gets crazy, okay? There's some things that are not clipped here, including, like, Anisa feeding Idubbbz an insane amount of food to try to get him on the certain weight class for his fight to the point where he could barely function. And there's just so many embarrassing details. Idubbbz like crying during sparring, and Anisa like coddling him and embarrassing him publicly in front of people. It's just really bad. And honestly, this whole thing is a mess. And this whole stream from Ethan Klein really was quite the expose, as he promised. But for now, that's going to do for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.